So one thing that was brought up in conversation recently was the tender for the F1 tyres. And as it so happens, the FIA opened up that very tender about a week and a half ago, the end of March, to be precise. So what happens with these things is that an organisation or a company says, we want this. 200 vans or 200 lorries or whatever it might be. And the suppliers of that thing put together a big old PowerPoint presentation or a huge folder basically saying, you should pick us because we offer customer service that's unparalleled, or in my experience in putting together these things for supply and leasing and asset finance work I used to do, whoever is the cheapest. Because if there's one thing these companies and organisations hate doing, it's spending money, but still think they can spend as little as possible and get a bunch of top-of-the-line Mercedes vans or top-of-the-line Ford Transits. It doesn't work that way. Sorry, but this bit has brought up some stuff. But anyway, that's what the FIA has done. It wants companies to submit their bids, and the company that is successful will have the exclusive tyre contract from 2025 up until 2028, where there will be an option to continue after that. The current tyre supplier is the Italian brand Pirelli that has been the exclusive supplier since 2011, taking over from Bridgestone, who had the exclusivity deal between 2007 and, well, 2011. And this is after the last tyre war between Bridgestone and Michelin, and that ended with the French company's withdrawal at the end of the 2006 season. A tyre war that saw Bridgestone win all but 2 seasons. Now prior to this, there was a brief tyre war between Goodyear and Bridgestone, which happened through 1997 and 1998. It started with Bridgestone supplying the lower down the grid teams such as Prost, Arrow, Stewart, Minardi and the ill-fated Lola team, and then in 1998 they expanded their supply to Benetton and McLaren, meaning that the sport would see Bridgestone tyre McLarens versus Goodyear Ferraris for the title, and ultimately in 1998, Bridgestone came out on top. Now Goodyear's reason for leaving the sport was due to rising costs and the new racing regulations, as well as diminishing returns on the company's investment in Formula 1. Goodyear wanted to advance performance, but the groove tyres introduced in 1998 to reduce performance were going against what Goodyear wanted to do. Bridgestone had the monopoly for the 1999 and 2000 season before Michelin came in for 2001. The tyre war was good in some places but bad in others. Bad because it was in the Ferrari dominance years, so the war was very one-sided. But on the other hand, the tyres did end up having certain characteristics that helped some teams at some races and others at others. And this is something that people kind of want back. In the case of Bridgestone versus Goodyear in 1997, the Bridgestone softs were like Goodyear's hards, or something to that effect, so the Bridgestones took longer to get to temperature, but on hotter tracks they had better performance for longer. It's why Damon Hill was so rapid around that year's Hungarian Grand Prix before the car slowed down with just under a lap remaining. When the tyre war came round again between France and Japan, it was a similar deal. The Michelins tended to run better in the heat, which is why the 2003 season was as close as it was, due to the heat waves in Europe that year. But because of the Schumacher and Ferrari dominance years, the impact of the tyre war isn't as big when you look at it. In 7 seasons, Bridgestone won 5, Michelin 2, which was the 2 Alonso-Renault constructors' doubles. But there is a problem with a tyre war. It's a war. You only have to pick up a history book to see that wars cost money. There's a reason why the Sten gun used by British soldiers in World War II looks like a crudely made, cheaply made thing that you're more likely to see in the opening 20 minutes of Fallout 4. Because it is a crudely made, cheaply made thing. In this modern era of cost caps, reducing carbon footprints and trying to reduce the gaps between the top teams and the bottom teams because the show, a tyre war where 2 companies are looking at outdoing each other by building tyres that last 997 laps like it's Jim Clark version 2.0, it's going to go against everything the FIA is hollering on about. But then, this is the same Formula 1 that is saying reduce this and that, but trying to cram 24 races into one season. Because NASCAR can do it. Getting back these good old days of a tyre war is a pipe dream. It's just not going to happen in this era of cost caps and cost cutting. This tender is going to have one supplier and one supplier only. And actually at the start of this video I did say that it will be an exclusive supply, and that will be to F1, F2 and F3. Whoever it goes to will be determined by 2 factors. Number 1, costs. Cost to the team and to the tyre company. Goodyear and Bridgestone left for these reasons. Goodyear for reasons established, and Bridgestone in part due to the global economic recession near the end of the first decade of the 2000s. And it kind of all falls in line there, doesn't it? Toyota, Honda, Bridgestone. All Japanese companies, all left around the same time. The other part is finding a company that is willing to play by the rules set forth by the FIA's rulebook and the commercial rights wishes for, and I'm going to say it again, the show. Goodyear wanted to develop tyres that were the best things ever and the fastest things ever, and in 1997 had something close to that. But then the 1998 Groove tyre rules came in, and it's like, well, why put such a focus on performance while at the same time stripping performance? And Michelin was in a similar boat. Michelin wanted to do something similar, but they were working with their heads covered by paper bags following the Tyregate saga of the 2005 US Grand Prix. Currently, the consensus surrounding the F1 tyres is have these things that are brilliant for a few laps and then fall off. The drivers and cars that are good on their tyres can run at a higher performance for longer, while those who destroy their tyres will be pitting earlier or having to drive slower because they need to get to the end of the race. Which is a little bit boring. Now, Pirelli could build a tyre that doesn't turn into chewing gum after 6 laps, but that's not good for the show. F1 wants tyres that at some point have this overlap, so you have like what we saw at Hungary a few years ago, or that clone of that race at the 2021 Spanish Grand Prix. You've got one guy on fresher, softer tyres destroying a gap, at the risk of destroying those newer tyres and softer tyres, while the guy in the lead is on harder, used tyres that are designed to last the longest of those ones available, if that makes any sense. Will the guy in front hold on? Will the guy behind catch up? There's only this many laps and his tyres are falling off. It's the show. I need a show counter in the corner of this video, don't I? And I can see why people want to see some changes. It's not all been smooth sailing for Pirelli in the last 12 years they've been in the sport. The 2013 blowouts at Silverstone spring to mind, Verstappen and Stroll having those blowouts at Baku, the 2012 tyres that are made of paper and other bits and pieces that have attracted a lot of criticism. Because the wishes of the bosses in Formula 1 are to have a gimmicky tyre that's supposed to promote a varied strategy and this overlap, and they do, on occasion, blow up when they shouldn't. But that's not to say it hasn't spiced things up. The end of the 2020 British Grand Prix, for instance, when both the Mercedes cars had those tyre failures. But then there's the stuff surrounding the wet weather tyres. Pirelli blames the FIA for that, then the drivers blame Pirelli, and it all starts this massive no you thing that's like the meme of Spider-Man pointing at the other Spider-Man. But I start wondering that it doesn't matter if it's Goodyear, Michelin, Bridgestone, Pirelli, or even Hankook. The brand doesn't matter because at the end of it all, they're just building what they're told. But when it's all said and done, it'll probably be Pirelli that gets the deal again. According to the big motorsport magazine outlets, it's looking very likely they will, because Pirelli is willing to do what Formula 1 tells it to do, and probably because they're the cheapest ones available. But what do you think? You reckon Pirelli should work with the FIA and F1 to get closer to something everyone is happy with, or should F1 take its chances with another brand? Leave any opinions down in the comment section and get a discussion going. It is, after all, why I do these sorts of videos. And while scrolling down, get that like button clicked or tapped so I know I've done a good job. And for more stuff like this or anything I do around here, subscribe, get the Derek bell on so you never miss out. Massive thanks to the patrons of Patreon for the support, and if you want to help out, there's a link to Patreon along with socials, Discord, and my F1 Store affiliate link. So until next time, I've been Aidan Millward, have a great day wherever you are, and goodbye.